Hello, my wonderful listener. It's your girl C. I am so happy to record this video. Sorry for not being consistent again. A lot been going on, a lot been happening. But I'm here. Welcome to another episode of Growing Up Congolese. And today's episode is about family ties. So, for this episode, I want to actually focus on three different themes. I will focus on the good aspects. The follow-up episode will be on black tax, which talks about the negative aspects. And then the third thing we'll talk about being the only girl or a woman in a traditional Congolese African home. So let's begin with the first one. There's an African proverb that says, a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. I think African cultures, more than any culture, believe in the idea of community. It believes in the idea of togetherness. We tend to say in Lingala, when a child is in the womb, it belongs to the mother, but when it's out, it belongs to the community. And that was so true about my childhood. The person I am today is because of the different communities that raised me, of the different parents that I had. If you're African, you know this. You never call an adult. You never call another adult by their first name. That's not us. That's not African. That's not Congolese. Our childhood was like you have a lot of moms, you had a lot of dads, you had a lot of uncles, you had a lot of aunties. I personally did not grow up with my extended biological family. I did not know them until 2018. I met my uncle from my mother's side, I believe in 2012, when he came from France to visit us in the States. So I honestly did not grow up with biological extended family. So I never grew up with my biological cousins. I never grew up with my biological uncles and aunties. So my extended family have always been the Congolese community that I grew up in. So before I even talk about the communities in the States, let me roll it back a little bit. Because I grew up, part of my childhood, I spent it in West Africa. And I grew up in a community where you were a child to every parent. You were, especially when they were Congolese, especially when they were Congolese, it's like they had a say in everything that you did. And God forbid you did something stupid and it wasn't in the presence of your mother and another parent saw that, the whooping that you will get, you will question like, why? What did I do to you? Why? you know? And God forbid you have the audacity to go tell your parents, hey, Uncle Caesar hit me because I did so and so and so. Instead of your mama going to cuss out Uncle Caesar, your mama's gonna beat you up for for disrespecting her enough to show other people that she did not raise you well. That was the mentality. So the worst thing you wanted to do as a child is be disrespectful to another adult. I remember one time my mother was whooping me for something, and then I saw quote unquote Uncle Caesar walking around, and I'm trying to run to him to save me. Child, please. He asked my mama, "Do you need help?" So my childhood was heavily influenced by uncles and aunties. I had this mom. I call her mom. I call her Tantine, of course, but to me, she was like also my second mom. She did not have a kid, so she basically helped raise me. So I would go sleep over at her house. She was a Jehovah Witness, so she would give me the Jehovah Witness books. I would read, and so yeah. So for me, when I think about Congolese community, the good thing about Congolese community is the family family aspect. So in the Congo, in the last episode, I talked about the different ethnic group. We are one of the most diverse countries in the world and everything. So I am Luba from my father's side and Swahili on my mother's side. So both ethnic group are patriarchal society. So the man has more power. In the Bakongo, um, um, in the Bakongo group, the mother, right? So in because my ex was a person of a Bakongo ethnic group. In his ethnic group, the kids belong to the mom. So let's say um, if I had a child with my ex, my child we have like I would have more say in my child than my ex would have. And because of that, they value their nieces and nephews who are born by their sisters more than they will value the kids that they gave birth. Like, so they call them Banakasi, right? So in their ethnic group, so his nieces and nephew, so his sister kids had more privilege than the kid that he would have with me, if if that were ever to happen, with me, because in his culture, the kids are seen to belong more to the mother. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they have to pay like a price for the kid to belong to them in a way. So I remember when we were in a relationship together, this man would get paid like at the end of the month because in Europe most of the time people get paid at the end of the month. He would get paid, and literally like half of his check will go to his nieces and nephews, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, those are my nieces and nephews. They have more importance than than anything, because the kids belong to his sister, and kids are more they belong more to women because he's part of the maternal family. His presence in their life is the most important, so he will go above and beyond for him. And if he were to have children, actually he does have a kid, his nieces and nephews will go in front of his own kid, which is interesting. But in a lot of cultures where the men are the head of the household, kids go with the father, right? I watch a lot of Congolese movies where you'll see like parents separate and everything, and the rhetoric is the kid's gonna go with the father because they will be better educated, which is a bit contradictory because in Congolese culture we say that women are the one who educate the kids, but when there's a separation, the rhetoric change is like, well, they will not get away with some stuff with their father, so let's give him to the father because the father will have a wife, like the stepmom will be better suited than their actual mom, which is very weird to me. uh, so I remember when my parents were separating, my dad was also carrying that philosophy that we should go with him because he's the man and everything, blah 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 blah. But it's like this man was not equipped to take care of himself, let alone children. So it was just interesting. I've never seen my dad cook. That man could not cook. He could not cook, and we used to give him a harder time because we were like we wanted to go with our mother. And so yeah, he used to be very pissed, like you eat at your mom's house, but when you come here you don't want to eat. So he was very funny. He was very funny. But yeah, so our family ties is very tight. Family is everything, and family doesn't mean biological. Family can be community. Family can be your neighbor. So we're very, and I think that's one thing about the African community is very communitarian in a way, because it's like you did not want to mess up. You did not want to mess up in front of a kid. Like one of the biggest social social shock or cultural shock that I had when I moved to the United States was when I went to school and I heard a kid cuss at the teacher and be like, "You're not my teacher. I don't give a fuck." I was like, "Oh hell to the door! I wish I could." I I think when we were living in Africa, my mom went to my school maybe twice. The first day that she registered me, and one day where my teacher beating went too far. I think that's the only two times my mother went to my school. But the other stuff, she did not care. You are there to learn. If they whoop you because you did something wrong, because no, there's no reason a teacher will whoop you without you doing anything wrong, right? So that's sort of one of the good aspects of us. And to me, like I mean, like as a kid who did not really have a lot of like biological extended families, my idea of home is based on this cultural belief that your family doesn't have to be your blood. You owe everyone respect. If they're old enough to give birth to you, then they are all respect. Everyone is mom, everyone is dad. When I was in college, I went to my friend's my friend's house. She was white, and her mom was like, "You can call me Mary." I was like, "Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that. I will call you Mrs. Blank, right?" Um, yeah. So family is very interesting, and the dynamics in family culturally is also interesting. In my family, I am technically the oldest between me and my younger brother, but I also have another half brother. He's who's a lot older, so I am the only girl between boys. And that dynamic in a household is interesting. And I think cultures have also changed because times have changed. In the olden days, the the boys were seen as like you carry our name, but interestingly, in familial ties in Congolese relationship, that I've realized is that the man carries the name, but the girl of the family, she's the one that gives honor to the family, right? So that's why there's always this belief of like who you marry is important because like when the son gets married, he will go to enrich another family, right? Because he will be giving his in-laws like money because in Africa is customary when the in-laws come to visit you, you give them like money for transportation or you pay for their monthly the monthly meal, right? You give them money to, in French we call it faire la provision. You give them money so that they can stock up on food, they can pay electricity bill, they can pay the mortgage or the rent. Whereas the girl who gets married, she has to marry well because her husband will be the one to take care of the family. So yes, the boys continue the name, but the girls are the one that give honor to the family. They are the one that provides wealth, in a sense, to the family, which I think is interesting. And on that note, I will record the next episode that will have to do with the black tax. And Lord, 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 I have so much to say about this. Stay tuned. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, follow me, comment, ask questions. Let's build a cool and fun community. And tell me about your culture. Tell me about the familiar ties in your culture. What are customaries between different ethnic groups? I cannot wait to hear from you. Thank you. Bye.